Hi folks, DC here from DC's Gadgets. It is the 25th of March 2020, and I suppose I could say I'm fortunate because I'm a machinist, and the company I work for, our primary contracts are U.S. government military stuff. So we're a small shop, and we're still working full time. So the coronavirus lockdown really hasn't affected us a whole lot. I am coughing. I do have seasonal allergies still bugging me. It's kind of interesting. You sneeze or cough around somebody and everybody kind of looks at you funny. There's a whole lot of pollen in the air and my bees are bringing in gobs of it. I talked yesterday about laying workers, and I said I was going to talk today about emergency queens and nuke boxes. So we're going to talk about nuke boxes. Now, I firmly believe that every beekeeper should have a bunch of nuke boxes. Whether they're 4-frame or 5-frame, mediums or deep, I don't care. You should always have a couple of nuke boxes. They're just such a handy thing to have. So much so that we actually, if everybody that came to our bee school we had this past February, built a 5-frame medium nuke box and took it home with them. There's so much you can do with one. And a 5-frame medium, I think, is a decent size. You can collect your average size swarm with one. You can move frames of bees around. You can get a queen mated. You can make queens. I make queens in a 5-frame medium nuke. That's my cell builder. If you got to transport some brood frames from one colony to another across town, you can use a medium box. It's really versatile. So I talked about this several times with different people, how I feel about if you've got a yard with bees, no matter how many you have, I think you should have a nuke box in every one of your bee yards, and you should do a couple things with it. Make a split with your bees into a 5-frame or 4-frame nuke. Just let them make a queen. And then every week or two, go in there and take brood frames out of that box and stick them in one of your production boxes. You're going to increase the population of the production box, and you'll increase the production of your honey crop and whatever else you're trying to get from there. And there's a non-linear factor in the bees in a box. Like, say for example, it takes like 25,000 bees in a beehive just to maintain it. Just an idea. You get the threshold up above that level, you get more and more foragers out. So, and it's not linear. If you increase from 25,000 to 30,000, you don't need to add quite as many foragers, or you don't need as many workers within the colony. So, at a certain level, you need a lot of workers in the colony. But as the population increases, you can afford to send more foragers out in the field, and you need fewer workers in the colony. So as your colony grows and grows, you pass these thresholds of you've got plenty of bees in the colony for maintenance, and the rest can go forage. So if you can get your colony up above those thresholds by adding brood frames, you can see a huge increase in your hive products, whether it's honey or wax or pollen or whatever it is you're getting out of your beehive. So this is where a nuke box comes in handy. If everything's going great, you have no problems, then you don't want your nuke box to swarm on you, so you've got to do something anyway. So you can go in there every week or every 2 weeks, and yank out 2 brood frames, stick them in another box, throw a couple frames of comb in there, and let her lay on those for a while. You can take the whole thing, just take everything except for 1 food frame, or maybe half a brood frame. Keep the queen there laying and let them keep going. You can use the queen, and this is one of the biggest things. If you're in your yard and you find out that one of your production colonies or one of your main colonies has either thrown a swarm and the queen didn't make it, or maybe you rolled her over and you pinched her last time you're in the beehive and you've lost your queen, then that little nuke box becomes your backup queen. So you can go in there and grab her, put her in a cage, stick her in your main box. You got a queen. Your main production box is back running again, and you let the nuke box requeen itself. So, something to think about. It's always a good idea to have a couple of nuke boxes anyway, but I really think if you're a beekeeper and you want to sustain your colonies, sustain your yard, I think it's a good idea to throw a nuke box in every yard you have bees, just so you have the emergency thing you need. Okay? And you could grab a brood frame and move it over if you think, maybe you think you have a queen in the box, but she's just not mated yet, and you want to throw a brood frame in there to stifle laying workers or just give them a boost. Well, if you got a 4-frame or a 5-frame nuke where the queen is laying eggs, that's an established colony, you can move that brood frame over there. You know? And I don't always agree with this. Like the number one go-to solution for like 80% of beehive problems is just add a frame of brood. It's not always the best thing to do, but sometimes it is. So just something to think about. Get a nuke box, set one up in your yard. You have brood, you have emergency queen.